Hey guys, welcome back to my series on Azure DevOps. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the Boards tab. We're going to talk about work items, the backlog, sprints, and queries. Links to the other episodes in this series can be found in the video description below. The second tab that we have over here on the left is the Boards tab. Boards is broken down into a handful of sections. Each of these sections is really just another way to view our various work items. In order to understand what we're looking at, let's talk about what a work item is. A work item is, at its most basic, a way that we track things that we need to get done. Work items allow us to break down the work that we need to do into manageable chunks. We'll start at the top and we'll start working our way down. At the topmost level, we have an epic. Think of an epic as a big chunk of work, a high-level description of something we want to accomplish. Epics tend to be abstract ideas. Some examples of what you might have as an epic include increase customer engagement, improve and simplify the user experience, or implement new architecture to improve performance. With those in mind, let's create an epic for our Drive import project. This is going to be a UI-related epic, and we'll continue through our work items with it. Creating our first epic, we're going to title it Implement UI to allow user-defined settings. And we'll talk a little bit more about what these settings are going to be. But essentially what it's going to be is being able to decide which drives will import and where they will import to. This epic may then be composed of several features. Since I'm thinking of doing this project as a Docker project, which will allow it to run on multiple operating systems, we need to have a UI that will be friendly to all. So what we'll probably do is we'll have it run as a web UI that people will be able to access through a port and be able to set the settings that they need to. So let's go ahead and define this a little bit. So we want to add a feature. We're going to call this a settings web interface. And what this web interface will do is whether you're on Windows or Mac OS or Linux, you'll be able to go to the same address or same port and be able to access these settings, and we won't need to worry about any sort of UI between all the different operating systems. We'll go ahead and save that, and we'll also add a link to the parent of our epic, which is right there. We'll save that. So now these are linked together. So now if we can see under our epic what features there are. So here we have our first feature child. At this point, we have a nice overarching idea of what we want to do and what one of the features needs to be that we want. But everything's still pretty abstract. Each feature will then be composed of several user stories. A user story tells us how a user will use this feature or what a user wants to accomplish when using this feature. These often follow the format of, as a insert role, I want insert feature so that insert reason. As Yvette Francino writes, the user story should be written by the business in the language of the customer so that it is clear to both the business and the development team what the customer wants and why he wants it. If you remember, we have a feature called Settings Web Interface. What are some things that a user might want to do with this interface? My end goal in creating this product is to streamline or simplify the media import process for creators. We want to be able to plug in our SD card, our hard drive, our other external media devices, and have those files automatically transferred to the computer, and have any renaming or transcoding completed with absolutely minimal user intervention. With that in mind, one of our user stories or requirements, as they may be called, would be, as a user, I want to specify which drives I want to have imported so that I don't have to choose it manually. Or, as a user, I want my photos to convert on imports to save time in my workflow. For example, shooting with my Canon 80D, my photos come out in a .cr2 format. Now I need to transfer those into a more standard DNG format, which is a more general RAW format, so that Lightroom can actually use them. Being able to have that all happen automatically when I just stick my drive in would be phenomenal. So let's go ahead and add one of these user stories that we just talked about. We're going to say, as a user, I want to specify which drives will import so that I don't have to choose it manually. We'll add a related link to its parent, which will be our settings web interface. We'll save it. And there we go. Awesome. Having defined these stories, we can now go in and create tasks to help break down each of these farther. Let's go ahead and keep this simple, and for the sake of our example, we'll go ahead and we'll add a task, and we will say provide UI that allows for drive import selection. Basically, what this means is the UI will provide an interface that will allow users to specify which drive to import media from. We'll go ahead and we'll add its parent, being our user story, number 6. We'll save it. And there's our task. Now, unfortunately, in software development, things don't always go as planned. When we encounter something that's not working as intended, we create a bug. This allows us to track our bug, knowing what versions of the code it's in, as well as when it was fixed and how the fix happened. Let's say after programming our UI, we find that there's some sort of issue. We find that there's a bug. So coming in here, we'll create a bug. We'll say that there's a bug between the operating systems where we're not able to specify the correct drive on, let's say, Linux. So we'll go ahead and we'll title the bug, user is not able to specify drive to import from. And we'll go ahead and we'll denote that it's Linux. So this will create us a new bug. We can add the work item that this is related to. So this is related to our user story for importing from a specific drive. So this will now let us know that in this feature, there is a bug. Now we may want to include some information here. Maybe we know what Linux version it is, so maybe that matters for us. So we could just say Ubuntu 14.04. I believe that's an actual release version. We can have some reproduction steps. We can assume that we launched the UI, attempt to set drive, note available drives do not populate. Something along those lines, just to kind of convey easily that, here's where we can put repo steps for how a developer can then go and reproduce the bug so that they can see it, they can understand it, and they can also delve in and find out why is there something wrong with this. Now we also have the option down here. We can have a discussion about, what's going on. We can add comments. As we do investigation, we might document things here of, oh, here's what I found was wrong or was not able to reproduce, things like that, that as it goes back and forth between perhaps a QA tester and the developer, they're both able to follow the state of the bug, as well as anyone that's overseeing the project can look and see what's going on. Now we have 2 more items that we're only going to talk about briefly, and those are test cases and issues. Because not all features can be tested or validated using things such as unit tests, we write test cases and define a series of steps someone will take to validate that a given feature works. Each test case becomes part of a larger test plan, which we'll look at in a later video. Lastly, an issue is essentially something that prevents work from getting done. These you'll link to the associated user story or task that they are blocking. This way you'll know better why a certain task isn't being worked on, and also when work will be able to commence on that work item. Moving on from work items, we have the boards section of our boards tab. Boards gives us an overview of the state of the various items that we're working on from start to finish. Each item will go from new to active to resolved to closed. As you can see, we've got our 2 user stories that we created here, along with indicators for the task associated with work item 6 and the bug also associated to it. Moving on to the backlog, once we know what needs to get done, we're able to divide the work up and assign it out. The backlog presents work items as a list and allows us to prioritize our work. Our second to last item is sprints. A sprint is how we schedule work items. In practice, sprints typically last 2 weeks, but the length may vary. By default, the task board shows which work items are assigned to the current sprint. However, we can also view work items assigned to other sprints. We also have access to the backlog, so we can assign work items to the sprint, as well as being able to break down what each member of the team is working on and for how long. Our last section is queries. The queries tab allows us to create and view queries that we define. Here we can query items by item type, item state, who the item is assigned to, what product or project it is a part of, and any number of other fields related to our work items. As an example, we can go ahead and we can query for our new, let's go for our user stories, that the current state is new. If we run our query, we can see our 2 new user stories. Alright guys, that'll wrap things up for this video. If you're looking to go more in depth, check out the link above and also in the description below. This will take you to Microsoft website where they have documentation on all of these things. If you found this video informative, please consider leaving a like. This will help others be able to find it and be able to learn also. If you'd like to be notified when new content goes live, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Stay tuned for the next video in this series where we will be talking about repositories. Until then, so long.